I'm gonna take the moderator role for our afternoon breakout session 2, the title Asian Clustering. In this session, we're gonna discuss the current startup ecosystem and landscape, and also opportunity and potential especially in Southeastern Asian region. For this session, we invited a very prominent and active startup sort of like guru from each country, from Indonesia and Malaysia and Thailand. I'd like to introduce each speaker. First speaker will be the Andy James from Indonesia, Managing Director of Mountain Kejora Ventures Ventures. And he's gonna cover Indonesian startup ecosystem and also Myanmar startup scene as well. And second speaker will be Mr. Chung Hui Sar, Director of Job Street Corporation in Malaysia. And he's gonna share a similar topic like startup ecosystem and opportunity and how we should approach the Malaysian startup area. And thirdly, we have Mr. Bachara Amebat, the CEO of Computology. He's gonna share the Thailand startup scene and also investor perspective and industrial player perspective, how we should approach the Thailand market. Okay, shall we start from Indonesian?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, SK. I'm gonna use the slides here. Hi guys, how are you? Okay, I'd like to, thanks for the opportunity for me to open up this breakout session. I'd like to take the next maybe 15-20 minutes just to share a bit about my country, Indonesia, and probably touch a bit on Myanmar, which I'm having privilege to be involved in the last 1.5 years. So I'm titling my slides Tech Opportunity in Emerging Market, case of Indonesia and Myanmar. My name is Andy Zain. Let me see if this works. Yes. Okay, so I run few initiatives in Indonesia, but my background really on mobile technology and startup industry since 1997. At the moment, I run 2 venture initiatives. One is IdeaBox, which is a tech accelerator in partnership with Indosat, which is one of the largest telco in Indonesia. Another one is Mountain Kejora Ventures, which is a joint venture between Kejora Group, which is ours, and Mountain Partners, which is a Zurich-based venture group with over 200 portfolios globally. But we also done a lot of community empowerment activities, including Mobile Monday Meetup, the Founder Institute, where we train young startups to become tech founders. NextCon is an annual event, and also run the FinTech Association of Indonesia. Yep. We are named as one of the most active VC in Indonesia, and we are also the only award-winning accelerator program in Indonesia through IdeaBox. But that's about myself. Just want to share to you more about the digital investment landscape in Indonesia. I started this quite early. When I started this about 4 or 5 years ago on ventures. People don't see the market is ready. People say that, well, it is too early. There's no money around for investors to invest in Indonesian companies. But also there's an issue that people say that there's not enough companies for them to invest with. But the things has changed for quite a lot. At the moment, we say that the investment ecosystem in Indonesia actually is very strong. We can see that there's multiple funds actually already available in Indonesia, coming from a single country funds. Let me check here, laser. Oops. Can I go back? Laser. Okay. If you look, if you look into here, it's like there's a lot of single country fund, like Converger Ventures, Skystar Venture, Meraputi Ventures, where they invest in small amount of money from 200K up to $1 million. But then in Southeast Asia, we also have a lot of companies like 500 Durian, which is part of the 500 startups, also put investment in Southeast Asia. But we start seeing that a lot of fund coming into the next level because the startup become more established. then higher fund actually start coming in. Investment size between 1 to 3 millions, even up to 3 to 10 millions start coming in. But we start seeing that a lot of the last few years, a lot of the fund actually coming from foreign base, but lately many Indonesian conglomerates and Indonesian companies start entering the industry. And the fund that they look into is not just for Indonesia, but also they start going into Southeast Asia. Initially, brands like K.E.Y, Fairtech, Nesper, Cyber Agents is in the market. But we are seeing there's a lot of opportunity, whereas on this area, when the company become bigger and bigger, bigger fund is also needed. Fund size between 10 to 20 million, actually, we don't have much operation in Indonesia yet. So in case you're in fund management, you're in venture fund, you're looking into coming to Southeast Asia market, this area is quite crowded, but however, in this area, it is not there yet. We start seeing a lot of the local families coming into this area. We have Lipo Ventures, one of the biggest group in Indonesia. They're in retail, they're in property. A few weeks ago, they just announced they're coming into the venture. They put in $500 million into their Matahari Mall, which is an e-commerce in Indonesia. Groups like Rocket Ventures also invest heavily in Southeast Asia. SoftBank and, we don't have it here, SoftBank and Sequoia recently put $100 million in one of Indonesian marketplace called Tokopedia. Tiger Global been around. They invested in some news portal in Indonesia. We have MediaCorp out of Singapore also put in some investment in Indonesia. So these are more or less like a high-level mapping about the venture fund in Indonesia, in Southeast Asia. This area, the red area, are still pretty much undeveloped for Indonesia, for Southeast Asia, fund size between 10 and above. Looking into the startup, so we talk about the fund. Now let's come back to the startup. In the startup itself, we start seeing Indonesian companies. Initially, a lot of the startup in Southeast Asia, particularly Indonesia, is dominated by company coming from overseas. We start seeing, let's say, example here, JobStreet, which later on Asia is going to share with you more. It's a Malaysian-based company. We have JobsDB, which is actually coming from Hong Kong, but now at the moment, JobStreet and JobsDB is part of SIG Group from Australia. iProperty coming from Malaysia as well, but they got investment from Australia. They are on, I call it, property listing. We have Property Guru also coming from Singapore, but they are also part of Scout24 Group out of Germany. We have a social networking company called MakeMe with 70 million users. They just listed. They actually come from Australia, but now based in Singapore. Few other initiatives start coming in, local initiatives from Indonesia, like Variant Benka, Traveloka, Internet Portal, Elevenia. This can be quite interesting. It is a joint venture between a local telco in Indonesia called XL Axiata, partnering with SK Telecom. So they do a joint venture launching an e-commerce portal called Elevenia. So if you look into this area, it's very limited pure Indonesian startups. Yeah, I'll share more why is that the case. We have Detik, which is pure Indonesian, but then they got multiple investment. Berry Benka is pure Indonesian. Kaskus is pure Indonesian. And if you look at it, the valuation is still very low. Yeah, the one that actually can goes up. Oh, by the way, Tokopedia is one pure Indonesian, but now they got funding from SoftBank. But a lot of the market actually is dominated by regional players or even global players coming to Indonesia market like Zalora, Lazada, GrabTaxi also from Malaysia, yeah, Garena from Singapore. So this is one issue of Indonesian startup because there's very little homegrown companies, very little strong homegrown company. That's a homework for us in Indonesian ecosystem to grow our local markets. Okay. Again, look into this. They have a lot of chart. My team supply me with a lot of chart. It takes companies faster and faster actually to gain valuation. We can talk about JobStreet, which started from 97, let's say it's since 97. iProperty started from 2007. For them to really get high valuation, it takes them very long, like more than 10 years. But recently we saw GrabTaxi they just got funding, I think $230 million from SoftBank also. They got this valuation very quick, in less than 5 years. Lazada also, and Elevania also. So we start seeing that it's getting faster and faster to get the success curve in Southeast Asia. But the opportunity windows also become shorter and shorter because now more companies actually coming in. It is a really good timing for Indonesia, for Southeast Asia region. So speed and acceleration now become very important. Yeah. Back to Indonesia. If we go back to the statistic, there's a lot of good news about Indonesia. It's a big country with 250 million population, which is number 4th largest population in the world. 60% of the population actually are at working age. So I think 60% of the population is below 30 years old. Over 100 million internet users, number 6 in the world. If you go on and on, there are all these numbers, 430% growth, almost 100 million smartphone users. Then a lot of them actually start doing transaction on their mobile phones. 95% smartphone users search for local information, and 57% actually start purchase from their mobile phones. Then we look into another statistic, the growth of mobile ads spending in Asia Pacific. Indonesia actually is growing very fast and even set to overtake India very soon. So 64% year after year growth. The unique of Indonesian market, one is very social. We are one of the largest country of Twitter user. Like Jakarta is known as the Twitter capital of the world, together with Japan. Facebook also, I remember, I think about 2 or 3 years ago, I spoke with a friend of mine, Peter Vesterbaka. He's the CMO of Rovio. Remember the games Angry Birds? Yeah, and they said that, oh, we are launching our Angry Birds version for Facebook. So I asked him, where do you want to launch it? Are we going to do an event in Times Square in New York? Why is that? Oh, you know, Times Square, all the billboard, all the video screen. We're going to do bird flying from one building to another building. Then I say that if you're launching the biggest game that time, right, Angry Birds, for Facebook, you know what is the biggest Facebook users in the world are? I say, no idea. I say, it's in Jakarta. So we do a check on the internet, and we found that actually Jakarta Facebook users is 8 times larger than New York. It's crazy. Yeah? And it's a mobile-first country. There's more SIM card than population, and the highest mobile browsing intensity in the world. Second largest mobile ad impression after USA, and a very low PC penetration. Yeah? Indonesia, we have over 200 million mobile phones, but PC is below 20 million. So PC meaning that all the computer you have, the laptop, the one in the office, in school, at your home. By the way, most PC actually is on office and in schools. At home, people don't have it. Many people actually have smartphones, but they don't have a laptop at their house. So very low PC penetration. So when you want to come to Indonesia, it's really a mobile-first country. Everything needs to be mobile. Yeah. And a very young user base. This is the unique about Indonesia. More things. And Southeast Asia, especially Indonesia, can't be said that, oh, it's a country that we're following trend. Just want to show you some fact about Indonesia. It took Indonesia 2 years to overtake developed country like US, like UK and France to become the second largest Facebook users in the world. Yeah. So in 2011, Indonesia crowned become the second largest Facebook country after US. Then it took another 3 years for India and Brazil to catch up with Indonesia. Yeah. So if you know that India, they have multiples of Indonesian population. They have over 1 billion people in India. Indonesia only 1/4 of that. Yeah. Brazil got almost similar population like Indonesia. At the moment, Indonesia now we are number 3 or number 4 Facebook user. But it took India and Brazil 3 years to catch up with Indonesia. It shows that people in Indonesia actually adopt technology very fast. If there's something new, they come in, they like it, they adopt and they use it like crazy. It's very apparent for the case of Facebook, Twitter. There's other service like, if you remember a service called Foursquare, anyone remember Foursquare? I think a few years ago we used Foursquare. So, you know, Foursquare, you like to come into a place, then you check in at that place. Yeah? When you have like 100 people check in at the same time, then you have something called Swarm. If you have, I think, 300 or 500 people actually check in at the same time, then you have a thing called Super Swarm. Right? So it's a trend that people like to do. So they go to a festival, let's check in together just to create a hype, like, oh, we belong, and we own this place. So in Indonesia, if you look at the first 20 super swarm happened in Foursquare, 2 or 3 of them actually come from Indonesia. The rest of it came from either US, Canada, Australia, but suddenly there's one country out of nowhere, pop, and they have 3 super swarm happening, which is Indonesia. So our people are very crazy. They come in, they embrace technology very fast, but they got bored quickly and they move on to the next thing. Yeah. So want to try out a new product. Indonesia is a good market for you to try it out, because regulation is not really there. People are crazy. They adopt mobile very quickly, and they love using their phones. This is one chart, I think, done by an agency to measure how screen minutes compare between countries. If you look at that, Indonesia is topping here. Yeah, over 540 minutes actually is being consumed on their screen. Which, if here, this is TV. Here's the yellow one is laptop, then smartphone, the red one, and tablet, the blue one. We are way above all the other countries. We have Philippines here, China here, even Korea, I think somewhere is here. Korea, you actually put a lot of time on your TV, laptop, and also on your smartphones. Okay, Indonesia smartphone is among the biggest, right? Actually, talk about tablet. Number 1 actually is Philippines, 115 minutes. We are 110. Yeah, on smartphone, USA 193, Indonesia 181, almost very close. But altogether, Indonesia is very active. Many say that Indonesia also is the most attractive internet market in the world, or the most attractive e-commerce market in the world. Why? This chart is done by is issued by KPCB, listing the top 15 most interesting internet country. They say interesting because the internet penetration is below 45%, so there's still room to grow. Out of this list, Indonesia is ranked number 2 here, but after India. Why? Because India got more users. However, if you look into that, 1, Indonesia, we are the 2nd in market size. Number 2, we are the 3rd lowest in penetration. So room to grow is still very big. So existing market already big. Room to grow is still very big because we are the 3rd lowest. And we are the 2nd largest population after India. So after China, India, it is Indonesia. Yeah. On the other industry, this is just to give an example. I think you have a session about gaming afterwards. Indonesia, about the gaming industry, Indonesia with 250 million population, with this data is, there's multiple numbers about internet. This is a 54 million. But the revenue from gaming industry is only about 146 million, which is very low as compared to countries like Vietnam, with less than half of Indonesian population, but the revenue is almost double of Indonesia in the gaming sector. Thailand is more than Indonesia, even though the population is only 1/4 of Indonesia. As compared to countries like Brazil, almost similar population like Indonesia, revenue is 1.3, 1.4 billion in gaming industry. Yeah, so to show that actually there's a big opportunity in the Indonesia market. The challenge, lack of good talents, lack of trust, lack of infrastructure, limited access to online payment. This is very important because a lot of industry, people say that countries like Southeast Asia, the problem is it's a big pool of consumer, but they're not paying because they got problem with the online payment, lack of government support, and high cost with inefficiency. Let's go quickly. Lack of good talents. So 11 million working population with diplomas and college degree. However, they have very limited exposure to internship. That's why entrepreneurship is not in the blood. It's not in the nature. Internet startup having problems to find good talents. So that's why we are looking for. That's why if you look at earlier when I show the chart, a lot of internet company or successful internet company come from overseas, not from local. So they use Indonesian big market. However, because lack of entrepreneur, lack of good talent, we can't build our own companies. Lack of trust. Yeah, again, a survey says that fear of fraud, because Indonesia also become a country where people don't really trust, don't have high trust level, because there's no consumer advocacy. There's no consumer support agency that help you when you have issue. People don't trust government as well because there's not much protection to you. When you have issue, you complain to government, even if you lost more money. You complain to police, even you get into more troubles. So rather people just say, yeah, I just don't do it. Yeah. Payment also, there's actually this number between 20-30% banking penetration. Some numbers show you that, oh, there's 50% banking penetration. However, having banking account doesn't mean that you are active in bank, right? Only about 20, not more than 30% people actually have proper bank account and really do transaction on their banks. Credit card also very low. There's only about, out of 250 million population, only 7 million people have credit cards. And people who have credit card like me, we have multiple cards. We have 2 or 3 cards. Yeah. So the number of credit card penetration is very low. I can say is that below 4%, can be 3% only. Yeah. Then on e-commerce, how people do payment, 70% actually do bank transfer. Meaning that I bought something on the internet. I say, yes, I confirm. Then you go to ATM machine, you do your payment transfer, then you notify the seller, yes, I done the payment. So the seller need to manually check on their account, say, yes, I got the money, thank you very much. The way that they do it usually is that, oh, I want to buy something, it costs you, let's say, $50. They say, okay, please transfer me $50.20 or 23 cents. So they use this 23 cents to know that the money comes from you. Then the other buyer say, okay, you transfer me $50.16. Then I know you are buyer number 16. That's how they do it. So very troublesome. Yeah. The next payment actually is internet transfer. Then credit card is only 24%. Cash on delivery, which is growing. Yeah. And another one is also bank transfer. Lack of infrastructure, of course, we are fixing it. People want to do more if they have better infrastructure. Our data cost is among the lowest in the world. So you go to Indonesia, use mobile data, it's very cheap because competition between the carrier. However, the service is not good. Yeah. So Indonesia ranked among the slowest, only 3 Mbps as compared. Malaysia is double. Singapore even like multiples of us. Broadband also not doing much better. Only 5 Mbps, and you pay a lot of money for that. As comparison, 20 in Thailand and 80 in Singapore. So infrastructure is still a problem. Indonesia also is very difficult for us to lay down all the infrastructure on cable infrastructure because we consist of islands, a lot of islands. Makes the cost very high. Lack of efficiency. Lobby works. Yeah, you need to do lobby, and lobby need to be done in multi-layers. Project winners not by qualification, but more by lobby, and conflicting interests by various gatekeepers. So for Korean businesses who want to come to Indonesia, you need to understand this very well. Doesn't mean that you have the best solution. You can come into the market easily. You need to know. You need to have a good network, enough people who knows you and can help you to open up the doors. Otherwise, it'll be very, very difficult to crack the market. Then it is actually very much similar to what happened in Myanmar. I happened to spend a lot of time. I think I took almost 20 flights to Myanmar in the last 1.5 years. I've been there like every 2-3 weeks. Myanmar is also very interesting. It's a very new market, whereas there's not much that you know. I think the latest census happening some time ago, nobody even remember. When you ask them how many population they have, you get a number between 50 to 60 million. Yeah. Then rural still play a lot of roles there. Internet penetration is very low. However, mobile penetration, out of these 60 million people, 6 million people have mobile phones already. Yeah. It is interesting. When I first came to Myanmar about 1.5 or 2 years ago, you only have one carrier, which is MPT, Myanmar Post and Telecommunication. They are the only carrier. But I think only a few months ago, then we have Telenor come to the market. They are having GSM network 2.5G and 3G that Ooredoo, which is a group based on Qatar, only come to the market. So these two actually is competing very hard in the market and bring a lot of good changes in the industry. A fourth telco is coming in called Mactel, actually is backed by military. so it's quite awkward. And this is very interesting. This is 500 US dollar. It's the price of a SIM card. Imagine that in year 2000, before 2012, for you to get a SIM card, it costs you $500. Why? The price of SIM card actually is not expensive, but it's only one telco and they own like over 90% of the market, which is MPT. The SIM card is issued by government and issued to you in a lottery basis. So you need to apply and they do a draw, say, yes, lucky guy number 52, now you got a SIM card. It costs them not much money, but because the SIM card is very rare, the people want to buy it in the second-hand market. So effectively, you need to spend this much money to get a SIM card. I remember when I first came in around 2003, I paid about $200 to get a SIM card. At the moment, after multiple telco comes into the market, it drops to below $2 already, which is good. It's also a very funny story. I think last year they have SEA Games, Southeast Asia Games. It's like an Olympic for Southeast Asia. Then people come into Myanmar, the first time that Myanmar become the host. Of course, for communication, it's a big issue because roaming also does not work well. Yeah, I remember that time when first time I came to Myanmar, there's no roaming, there's voice roaming working not perfectly. SMS roaming is not there. Yeah, so then they say that, okay, now you can buy a SIM card, cost you $30, but the SIM card only work for 1 month, and after that, that's it, disappear. Even though you top up, you can't continue. It's only for 1 month. They do that. Then the user base actually growing very significantly from 6 million, grow to almost 20 million, and they say it can be 100% penetration very soon. This is very interesting. It's a new market, but because it costs you $500, $200 to get a SIM card before, so only people who can afford to buy it can get a SIM card. And of course, they buy better phone because if you can afford $300 to buy a SIM card, you won't buy a $40 phones. You buy a $300 or $500 phones as well. So it's a country with 95% Android penetration. It's very funny because the other countries like India, Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia got below 50% Android penetration. Indonesia is below 30%. Yeah, India is only 20% penetration. But a new country like Myanmar, they got 95% Android penetration. And there's a weird things like the number one phones, the number one handset brand in Myanmar actually is a brand called Huawei from China, which is not even market leader in China market. Yeah, Samsung I think is the second, it's a very far second players in Myanmar. Yeah, so because it's a new market, then people don't have, and they're quite close. They only opened maybe like a few years ago, right? So they don't have all that information. Yeah, everything comes in. That's the one that they first encounter with information out there. Yeah, so they don't know what are the top brands. They don't know Samsung. They never heard of that before. They come and say, oh, Android phones, Huawei comes in and they grab the market. Then also very interesting story. Number one messaging application is called Viber. Yeah, and they own almost 80% market share as compared to the others. So this again emphasizes what I mentioned earlier. It is new. People just get to know, but just start using it. Then the first players who come to market can actually grab the attention and win big market share. But again, this opportunity actually is closing very soon. So I want to come and have to be very hurry. Popular service in Myanmar, popular website is more e-news. Of course, like when you first start using internet, what you do with internet is you try to get information. Most of them in English and Burmese already, but the content are updated very slowly. They watch YouTube for music and video clip. Social network, Facebook, I think they own about 50% market share. There's no strong local competitor. Popular search engine is Google. However, the search result is not very good because Myanmar use their own language and their own characters, which is not compatible. It's a bit, I'm not technical, but I spoke to a few people. They say that it is unlike the other language in the world. They use a different kind of, what do you call it? So the normal algorithm to do search is not working there. Yeah. So you need to have a new algorithm, and so far no one is doing that. There's some local companies try to build something there, but it is not on perfect stage yet. Okay, so there's a lot of opportunity still in Myanmar. Only a few years ago, they have the first ATM machine. If you go everywhere, you look at a billboard, you start seeing people selling this. Start accepting credit card for your business. So they're just about to introduce people to accept credit card. Yeah, and there's not much market like this exists now. There's not much emerging market left. Yeah, Myanmar might be the last one in Asia. We joke about it. We say that maybe the next one should be Africa. If they don't take this opportunity, then there's none. The next one, you have to go to Africa. Then solution to address the challenge, I think hands-on approach and direct mentorship is required. We have the case like, there's a lot of success story happening in the other part of the world, but country like Indonesia, Myanmar, a lot of hands-on is required. I know Vietnam is interesting. The growth is very fast because a lot of people from Vietnam actually educated or live in another more developed country. Then when Vietnam open up, they all return and start pushing it out. Indonesia, we don't have that much. That's why like, a lot of mentorship need to happen from other industry coming to help the tech sector. Data-driven performance and KPI measurements, so everything needs to be done very efficiently to help the startup to scale faster. And networking at many different levels is required, no matter how good is solution. You don't know the right people, then you stop as well. Then adapt the product to a local needs. So there's a lot of local problems, like payment issue, infrastructure issue, yeah, lack of trust. Yeah, so you have to adapt to that situation before it can be successful. And adapt with all these infrastructure problems, like it's easier to do a startup in another market. For instance, you do a startup in an e-commerce portal in Singapore or in US. You just need to focus on your own operation, which is doing e-commerce, selling goods, and do marketing, online marketing to support it. Someone will take care of your payment. For instance, PayPal take care of the payments already. Bank take care of the payments already because it works. Or the post office will handle the delivery. But if you do it in a country like Indonesia, you need to really think about end-to-end because the other supporting ecosystem is not available yet. But it also opens opportunity for you. Yeah? If you can win it, you can win the whole thing, the whole end-to-end cycles. And the ecosystem need to work together from government, developers, users, university, technology partners, media, everybody, venture capital, multinational companies, local companies. So emerging market has a lot of challenges and problems, but challenge, like I mentioned, equal to opportunity. You know them, you fix them, and you can be the winner for the country. That's my last slides. Thank you very much. That's my email there. In case you want to learn more about Indonesia, feel free to get in touch with me. I'll be sitting on the panel and we can do some Q&A as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Andy.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing the huge opportunity and also together with the Myanmar market. And then we'd like to move over to Malaysia startup ecosystem run by Mr. Chung Hui Sui from Job Street Corporation.
Good afternoon. Thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure representing my company at this conference. I think it's a sign of Korea's efficiency in planning for such conferences to be a great success. I'll spend a very quick time going through the history of my company, but I'll take more questions at the Q&A session. So as our previous presenter said, that we are one of Malaysia's very successful internet companies. JCB is close to 20 years old. We were the first mover in Malaysia back in the mid-90s to start up an online jobs matching portal. So we are listed on the main stock exchange in Malaysia, under Bursa Malaysia. So today, we are number one in Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines, and a very close number 2 in Indonesia. Right now, we have over close to 900 people working in 9 countries throughout Southeast Asia. Our team and founders are mainly coming from the Ivy League universities in the US, from MIT, Wharton, etc. So throughout the years, I think this one of the key competencies. A lot of startups talk about valuation. We focus on execution, and we focus on the quality of our management, the depth of our management team and bench. Going through the history, JobStreet was actually an offspin of MOL, which is also today listed on NASDAQ. So throughout the years, we started out Malaysia, expanding to Southeast Asia, first in Singapore and the Philippines. Now, one of the points I emphasize in ASEAN, Southeast Asia, that any Korean startup or any Korean company would like to move in the region is the importance of business networking and partnership. Our presence and success in the Philippines, Indonesia, and Vietnam is also due to the strong cooperation we have with a local joint venture over there. Okay, just a roadmap where we are. Again, fundamentally, our company, our shareholders, and the team have focused on execution. No one, when we started JobStreet with a very fancy PowerPoint plan, it was basically us going out every day, day-to-day, selling job ads and job plans to our companies. And that's what we've been doing for the last 20 years. And that's what the company is doing going forward. Okay, so throughout the years also, we've invested in overseas companies. Our largest overseas investment today is Taiwan's #1 job recruitment company called 104, which is also listed in the Taipei Stock Exchange. We own significant stakes as minority shareholders in some listed companies in Hong Kong and Malaysia too. So we are not essentially a VC fund, but we tend to look at ourselves as plain old good business people, focusing more on the value and the longevity that we can benefit from our long-term investments. So if you look at the cash flow that our recruitment business has generated, in addition to our stakes in these companies, you can see that we have a very, very strong balance sheet with no debt, and we pay out close to 70% of our annual profits or dividends. So you can call any JobStreet shareholder and see how many times their investment they've received in benefits over the last 10 years since we are listed on the stock exchange. Okay, I'm also sharing with you today, I won't go through all the details of what deals have been done in what valuations, but I'd like to part with you some of my experience of over 20 years investing in technology and in general and in the Southeast Asia region. Let me talk very briefly about the ecosystem in Malaysia. They are very similar to other countries around the world. Most tech companies who start up in Malaysia achieve a pioneer status, which allows them a certain period of corporate tax incentives. Such companies too in the high-tech area have no restrictions of employment of foreign individuals or shareholders or any movement in the currency capital controls. During the last 5 to 10 years, the Malaysian government has also moved on the bandwagon to promote new startups as another growth foundation for the country. So today, we have a few government-linked incubators such as K.E.Y and Magic, which is essentially a form of a boot camp along with some seed financing for startup companies. The capital markets in Malaysia are not as developed as you would see them in Singapore and Hong Kong or in Korea. So funding for capital markets tend to come either from private families or individuals when they're starting up, or as the company becomes more mature and they go for Series A or Series B, and later on, they will probably get funding from a regional VC fund. Exit is typically on either the local Malaysian stock exchange, or in very rare cases, these companies go on a regional or global stock exchange. Now, this is my personal view right now of what's happening in market. Let's talk about the originality of ideas and execution. There are too many Me Too ideas being funded today, and that's a sign of what I feel is a too hot a market where there's too much money chasing too few good deals. And because of that, valuations, in my view, are going up to what I think are insane levels. So as you all know, I've been financial investing comes in cycles. So I believe right now we're at quite a near peak of another severe correction in the next 1 or 2 years. Okay. What I'd like to focus on to companies aspiring to grow is to focus on your core business. Yes, you need financing, but more importantly, how you build a very strong team and how you focus day to day on achieving your KPIs that you set up for your company. So that is going to allow you to weather the storm because business and market conditions change all the time. So everything looks a lot rosy right now, but like I said, there's always fair weather and dark weather, and I believe that dark weather will be around the corner soon. In the ASEAN market, it's, as been said before, it's not a homogeneous market. Each country is different, characteristically distinct by its regulation laws, and more importantly, about the behavior of the consumers in each market. So if you're doing your homework about launching into ASEAN, do it very carefully. I would imagine that you should actually spend more time going from country to country. Most startups that I see, especially from overseas, fail to grasp the nuances of operating a business in each country. They would look at a lot of data which is circulating about how big these markets are in terms of the potential users, subscribers, per capita income, and everyone will rush to the doors to launch into each of these countries. Then only to find out that on an execution basis, they are not easy to do. Because if everyone sees the same obvious question and has the same obvious answer, then I say the solution is actually non-obvious. Sounds a bit non-logical, right? Because if you ask yourself as a skeptical business person or investor, which I encourage you to be, is to ask yourself, if it looks so easy to be done, why hasn't someone done it before, right? There's no shortage of capital or talent. But you ask yourself really the hard question, it looks so obvious to you, it probably looks so obvious to another 1,000 of your competitors or counterparts. So ask yourself, why is it that nobody has been able to successfully solve what you see is obvious? Okay, so I hope to part with you some experience that I have and we have had over the last 20 years operating one of the first internet companies in Malaysia and in the region. So I'll spend the last few minutes taking any questions from the audience. I'm sure you're probably dying to ask me some questions regarding Malaysia.
So please feel free to ask any question about the Malaysia market. Even though we will have another separate Q&A session together with all the panel, but we have time. Please go ahead. Yes.
Which channel is English?
Three or four.
네, 그 동남아 시장에 다 똑같이 보면 안 된다라고 말씀을 해주셨는데 말레이시아는 특별히 동남아랑 다른 점이 어떤 게 있는지 시장에 대해서 좀 말씀해 주십시오.
Yes, okay. Even the question is, how do you compare Malaysia in terms of similarities or dissimilarities to other ASEAN markets. Maybe let me say something about Malaysia itself, which I myself found revealing. Within Malaysia itself, it's not a homogeneous market itself. There, especially in the online, mobile, internet space, what we see are actually differing consumer preferences among the different races and income levels in Malaysia. And we see that by visiting some of the telcos operators. For instance, certain operators may have a particular larger user base of Chinese subscribers in Malaysia, and certain operators have other subscriber base of non-Chinese. And we're also seeing it against different social income levels. For instance, we see some very local classified ads and apps companies in Malaysia were doing very well, but they don't sell the items that you see on eBay or some of the well-known auction sites. But instead, they sell very plain items. For instance, in Malaysia, there's an app that they're doing very well. But what do? They sell things like engine oil and motor oil to factory workers who have motorcycles to service, right? And we see, wow, that's interesting. So it shows to me, going forward, for internet mobile, not only do you need to customize it across countries, but within your own country, I think you're seeing emergence of specialization among. I don't mean to sound racist or elitist, but there are going to be segments of population and apps which are catered to different classes of society. So that's something that you need to be very aware about, is to understand who your customer is.
Any other question do we have? Okay, then let's save the question for our group panel discussion later. Let's move over to the third guest speaker, Mr. Bachara Amebat, the CEO of Computology from Thailand.
Hi, good afternoon. All right, so today we talk about Thai SaaS startup screen and opportunity in Thailand. Is it anyone in this room has been in Thailand before? Please raise your hand. Right, wow, not so many, surprise. Okay, Thailand is the good destination for travel. All right, so telling a bit about myself, it's my company called Computology. We founded in 2009, and right now we have like 30 people. We got Series A funding from Invent Capitals, and we do social media analytics platform. We are the couple first of company who jumped into the big data, and we start developing and being specialized on big data and social media. And last year, I and another founder of funded startup, we formed the association called Thailand Tech Startup Association in Thailand. I will talk about this one later on. Oops. Sorry. Okay. All right. So Thailand. We have 67 population in Thailand today, and internet population, the internet user is quite low, like 19.3 million. It's about only 28%, and surprised me it's not going that much fast, because before I thinking about it's gonna go like 23, 40, and as same as another country in Southeast Asia, we have a lot of mobile subscription, and number of SIM cards is more than the population in Thailand, because so many people just have like one phone for their work, one phone for their like, one phone for one people and another phone for another people, something like that. And GDP per capita is about 10,000 US. So compared to this is Thailand, and some interesting areas here. So Bangkok is the capital in Thailand, and you see Chonburi and Rayong, which is on the eastern part of Thailand, which is the second and the third GPP province in Thailand. And up onto the northeast is Khon Kaen, Udaron Thani, and Nakhon Ratchasima is the third biggest city in Thailand. They have a lot of population there, but not cost producing because of just people that are just like they're doing the rural areas. Chiang Mai on top of the area is just like the cultural city, cultural area. And on the southern part, many people just been there for like the beach and tourism part. So this is people people who are using the internet. They mostly stay in Bangkok area, in Chonburi, and some part in Chiang Mai and Phuket. And the transaction, Thailand number credit card transaction is about 20 million from September last year. But the transaction, money transaction via credit card is still not that much. Number of monthly e-payment transaction, this is about like almost 2,000 million, and yearly is about, this is about 200 million, and yearly is about 2,000 million Thai baht. And this is the number of credit card, ATM and debit cards. Credit card is still growing, but not still growing that much. This is the number that's spending and in yearly. And you can see that before they're using to spend on ATM, and ATM go slower, and just like this, and the debit card is coming through. But the same still is just like people who are using credit card is not that much. Right now, the e-commerce system, the same as in Indonesia, people using like wire transfer, and also right now we have COD, cash on delivery, but still keep going up. So the process that we are doing in Thailand and Indonesia is the same. When you want to buy something, you just call them, give them a call, or put confirm on Facebook or confirm on their e-commerce website, and then you transfer those money. And that is the gap. People doesn't trust about the security system that much. That's why. And number of credit card penetration is still low. So most of the people in rural area, they still use debit card or ATM card only. And I can say that in Thailand right now, the top social media one is still Facebook. Twitter is still very low, like 5 to 10 million users, but the active user is not growing that much. But Line, you can see Line is going so fast. From 2013, 2014, and 2015 is going beyond Facebook number. And the reason of that is, I think because as I showed before, that internet penetration in Thailand is not this number. Why they have over the internet penetration? Because they create the double Facebook account, and also the same, they have 2 mobile subscription, 2 SIM, so they can register for 2 Line account. So I think the number that 38 million users, most of them just like they duplicate account. But we have Line phenomenon in Thailand. Last year we can say Line phenomenon is just like they have more than 120 official accounts in Line. And if you are the brand and you want to open official account from Line, you have to pay like 200,000 US for only 3 months sticker and 1 year account. That means how much Line can making money in Thailand. And people just right now, they said just Line me or check my Line, or even my mom, they have Line account before Facebook. And they have the group of the people, just like I have like more than 20 group in my Line right now. Every morning, just the elder people or my mom just put some stickers, said good morning, Good Friday, Good Saturday, something like that. And that is phenomenon because of all of my relatives. They have Line account. They go into the elder people, they go super spread and super viral. There are a lot of campaign make with Line. And people just go to like this one, barbecue baza. They eat this one, and with pretty high price because just they got chance to get the Line doll or Line sticker. If you buy this pack, you're gonna get free sticker from barbecue baza. Wow. That's incredible. That's incredible. And we can say that we have the viral culture. Viral culture, viral marketing is go very strong in Thailand. People just like to be aware or to be like, they have so many influencers, so many attackers. Like these two videos you may seen before, from Thai Prakan Chivit and from True Move, you've seen, I believe that you've seen a lot of video from Thai before, just like really touching. You're gonna cry after watching those videos, something like that, and people do like to share. Same as you're doing for the brand. The brand right now, they create the content, they put seating team. Some of my clients, cannot tell you the name, they have like 10 or 20 seating team, do seating, do planning about that. And just like if you have something wrong on your brand, the first thing that's gonna happen is on social media. And then you cannot do anything. Just like people just like to share, spread. And they have like 100 of fan page like to share your story when you get something wrong. So it's work, viral marketing is work, viral culture is work, but you have to use them very carefully. For the startup ecosystem in Thailand, so you can say that this is we got from Thumbs Up, and this is last year survey that they have the most startup doing about commerce, and some of them doing about media, details, and go down and down. Very sad story, just like I'm just double check for the media. Who is the startup of the media? They just done the survey last year, and right now they just a few left. So startup in Thailand ecosystem, they just start doing there for a year, a couple years, and then most of them they gone. Just like every country, just 5% of startup they got funding, they go, and just only 1% they can go exit. And most of them they do like B2B, B2C, or B2B, B2B and B2C. And this is Thailand startup ecosystem. We have local investor like Invent. This is my investor. Ardent Capital. They're also active in Indonesia as well. MXVC, Expala. This is from Singapore, and also 500. Actually, next week they're gonna announce 500 Tuk Tuk. That is sub fund. Oh, actually. Not shouldn't tell this story. Just like the sub funding of 500 Durian and 500 startup, they're very active. And right now they invest a couple of the startup in Thailand right now, but very low amount of funding, just like seed funding. We have Inspire Venture. Also the telecommunication company, they formed the incubator. Just like we have 3 big telecommunication company, AIS, DTAC, and True, and they create AS startup, DTAC accelerator, and True InQ. So just like they bring all of the startup to be on their farm or to be on the team, and when you go somewhere, you talk to someone, and they just said like, what site you are? I'm from AIS startup, I'm from DTAC accelerator, I'm from True InQ, or something like that. And this is like some other incubator. This is from the government agency. And we have a lot of co-working space in Thailand. And fascinating, in co-working space in Thailand, like Hub Bar or Launchpad, 60 or 70% is expat in Thailand. They are not Thai local people. And we have the life of the maker space. So Maker Zoo and Nest is a maker space. So we are now, they have the trend about O2O or building something, maker some things. And we have like, yeah, foreign institutes that coming in, this up and the ecosystem. This is the new one that's just tap into the market. And many investors interested in startup in Thailand. So this is like, so many of them, they have already invested in Thai market. Just like you can see that most of them, they come from Japan. They are Japanese investor, and they have like some Silicon Valley investor and Singapore investor. And this is what we have done last year. We formed Startup Thailand or Thai Tech Startup Association to be unite and drive and accelerate, because we found that sometimes the startup, when they form the company, they got a lot of wrong way to go. Sometimes they can go super wrong way. They can have super high valuation and super low valuation. They doesn't know anything about how to expand, how to drive the company, how to manage the people. So what we've been done, we give the knowledge. We create the training, the session every 2 months to acknowledge the market, and we be the center of when you want to attack to someone and you want to meet someone, you just let us know, and then we can put you to the right person. Also, the story just show you how many companies that's been invested in Thailand. Just like from last year, Ukbi got Libi funding, and Wong Nai is the Yelp got another Lao funding. And this one he got funding from funded startup as just a small amount, and also this is from funded startups as well. We have O2O, and O2O being quite success. Draftbot, they raised fund from Indiegogo, and they got very good results after the campaign end. iCar got acquired. iCar, I think the Malaysian company, right? They acquired 1-2 car for $14 million US, quite a few. Also, I don't know why, because just like iProperty Group also acquired Thai company as well. So many companies from Malaysia like to acquire website in Thailand. And yeah, like Stockladder, they got another funding. And this is the game they just like, and from Invent Capital. This is all from 2014 until now. You can see just a few investment that's got on the startup, on tech startup. So we have a lot of investors tap into the market. We have a lot of investors that like to invest in Thailand, but we still cannot produce the startup that qualify or should to be invested. So that's what we are talking along with another startup right now, that how to build the startup community more stronger and make the quality startup or very different or innovative startup. Market entry in Thailand, just like you actually can register the company in Thailand pretty easy. It's actually, you can see the timeline. It takes 20 minutes to take 1 day to pay in the capital. You obtain the company seal or register the company name, and take just a few hours, just an hour to register the company. It's actually, it can be done by 1 week or 3 days if you want to register the company in Thailand. I'm gonna give you the link later on, but if you want to register a Thai company in Thailand, you should have 3 founders, and Thai shareholders have to hold stock more than the foreigner, just like 51% or 50.1%. And the Thai company, they have some privilege, like you can ask BOI, is Board of Investment, for tax exemption. Before we got 8-year tax exemption, but right now we got just only 5-year tax exemption start from last year. And normal Thai foreigner employee rate is 4:1. And actually, you can own 100% foreigner owned without a privilege. If you want to do that, you just talk to BOI. So I just give the link here. This is long, so I just make like tiny URL, Thailand BOI. You can go on this one. And to register the company, this is for English version, you can go to DBD-Thailand. And they are all of this department. They help to register or do some company in Thailand if you want. And they have a lot of regulation to do so. So please go to this URL. And the last one is about workforce. If you're looking for the tech people in Thailand it's not hard. I can say it's not hard. It's not that easy to find developer in Thailand. Since I've been in the technology IT industry for like 12 years in Thailand market, it's just like when you're gonna find some people in Thailand, just tech people, they're gonna move to Oracle, they move to IBM. I think it's the same as so many companies. So the salary is quite increased so fast. And but good news is it starts very low. And this is the number, just like developer, you can hire like $600 a month for the developer. The new grad developer, you have to train them later on. UI developers, or even administrators, we are good on UI and UX development, some things. And sales accounting is just like 500. So you can see that new grad is about 500 to 600 US a month. So you can, if you go like in Korea, you may hire like 3 people. You can hire 3 people in Thailand compared to 1 people here. And 3 to 4 year experience is quite a bit higher. Developer is getting like double price. I think the same things. UI developer is getting higher as well, and also project manager is getting higher. So this is like the data that if you want to do some business in Thailand, Thailand market is still good enough. And this is the conclusion: is the Thai market is ready. We have infrastructure with readiness, just like telecom. 6NOW infrastructure, mobile, and credit card is still ready for that. So you can start very easy. But that is the viral, that is about the trend. Line is famous, far more famous than WhatsApp or like Messenger, Facebook Messenger. Viral marketing is work here. It's really work here. And so many companies in Thailand right now, they are really focused on viral marketing and use it on the right way. And the startup system is going, ecosystem is going. There are a lot of VC. So if you are VC, you have to challenge with like 500 startup. They all even have like, they have their own team in Thailand to put the seed funding. And they plan to put like 200 companies in Thailand to get the industry goal, because they invest, when they do invest, they invest very low, like seed stage. And not so much in the investment round. In a couple years, just like compared to Indonesia or Malaysia. Indonesia, they have Tokopedia. Malaysia, they have like JobStreet. They have iCar, really high valuation. But in Thailand, still a few. One of the big deals that we have is Agoda, which is right now has been acquired. And open a business in Thailand is very easy, but to maintain, you still need a lot of tasks to do. And find the right people is very hard. And the other thing that I would be at is about if you want to do B2B, it's about relation. I think same as Indonesia, it's about relation, a lot about relation, but not just like you can sell the Clappy product to corporate, you can do that. But most of the things, just like relation that you have with the team, how to get into, because it's quite hard to just cold call to the enterprise, and then you said you have very good product and you want to be present. That's quite hard. You have to get somebody introduce you to go there. And that is the things. I think we're gonna have like the panel discussion. Right. If you have the question, we can let's later on. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Vachara. All right, shall we get in the middle of the stage for discussion together? Okay, we just watched actually 3 presentations on our 4 countries, and speakers keep saying that this is a bit difficult to collect one single reason, because each country has a very different characteristic. And I think it was quite a good opportunity for us, see how unique each markets are. But I think the session was also pretty short to see the more detailed insight of each market uniqueness. So we would like to start casually talking on each country's uniqueness. Okay, because you've been watching other peer markets. So what could be your if you summarize, like if you talk about any uniqueness in your own country market, what could it be? Can you start?
Okay, I think Indonesia, what is interesting is that first is the size of it is very big. Right. So it become a target for a lot of nearby entrepreneurs also to come into the market because of the sheer size, but also the people are very, very, I don't call digital savvy, but they consume a lot of things on digital. Right. Yeah, so I think those are the interesting point. And there's a wide gap because there's no product or there's no local product to really supply to that. So it's a big vacuum of service for people to come in. So that's make it very interesting. That's why locally there's always a discussion and challenge between the industry players, and we don't want to become just a country of consumer, but we also want to become a country of a producer. There's a lot of talk, but not much action. That's why for us, for us local players, it is good because it's open up opportunity. However, funding-wise, it's also very limited from local investor, because local investor says that it's very easy to make money in Indonesia. Yeah, you dig a hole, then you can sell mineral, you can get oils, you can get
Nice.
yeah. So our lands are very rich. Yeah, you just throw a seeds, then tree grows, and you can get fruit. So it's very easy to make money. That's why for them, it's like, why do I have to go to technology business? Yeah, I rather plant more palm tree and make more money there and do other businesses, right? So there's also a challenge for us to convince the local investor to come in and be more proactive. But we see things are getting better.
Right. Okay. How about Chung-Hei, Malaysia?
Yeah, Malaysia, I'm very happy to say, and this is starting up not just an internet mobile company, but just starting up even traditional businesses. The spirit of entrepreneurship and starting a business is still very thriving, especially among the Malaysian Chinese community, right? Despite challenges you may have, regulation or non-privileges and all that, we still thrive, right? Because there's a fundamental hunger, right, to do well, right? My founder, Mark Cheng, started up Job Street with just $20,000 US, right, back in '95. And we sold the business for close to 600 million US. And from day one to last year, when we sold the recruitment business, we didn't consume more than 2.5 million US in working capital, right, in 20 years. And after we broke even, we've been returning cash every year back to our shareholders. So you ask yourself, right, too much resources and too much, when it's too easy to run a business, then you become complacent, right? Because you can't survive. I take my heads up to some of our panelists here who are from Vietnam and Malaysia and all that. Because they're hungry, right? Because it's not an easy country to operate. We work out of Singapore. Singapore has the easiest, right? Just, you can start a company within 5 minutes, right? But then where do we lack? We lack the hunger because everything's too easy, right? Apply like in, the fundamental, if you carry weights, apply pressure to your muscles and the muscles will grow, right? If you don't exercise your muscles, you get complacent.
Right. Well, when you normally talk about in these regions, like startup business or like mobile or online commerce business, a lot of people say the challenge is like low purchasing power or logistics or like a payment, like support regulation-wise and technology-wise too. But for the Malaysian market, can you say that it's a bit more like developed or safe market?
Malaysia is definitely more developed, especially if you go to big cities like Kuala Lumpur, right, capital. Per capita income of household in the Klang Valley, which is around Kuala Lumpur, is among the highest. So you see clusters of spending. That's why I say even Malaysia is not a homogeneous market. So you see segmentation across income levels and geographic locations. So that's why I'm saying, like, when you really need to understand who you're selling to, right? Overseas investors tend to blanket everyone. They pick up data from IDC or Gartner. Oh, I got 250 million, in ASEAN, and everyone rushes in. But then if you're capturing, right? For instance, my founder shared with us, right, when we expanded into Singapore, right, was our second market after being successful in Malaysia. We actually lost money for a couple of years, right? And Mark fundamentally had to go back to the roots, right? He went door to door, talking to each of our corporate clients, why they didn't buy and why they bought from us, right? So you have to have that hunger of going door to door, right? Instead of being some armchair, like, oh yeah, don't worry, like Series B is at the 3 times markup, right? But for us, we are business people, right? business people, especially here in the room, people who have owned and been entrepreneurs, they like to own a business in perpetuity, right? So to get your business, how do you get your business to survive in perpetual or perpetuity, right? You need to make sure you focus on the finances and you focus on the execution.
Right. Okay. How about Thailand?
Thailand. I think Thailand is the have the compact user
All right.
to get things started. If you target like Southeast Asia, maybe you can go try to like the biggest market or your smallest market. Thailand is in between, and the infrastructure is already ready. And the good thing is just like you getting started is quite easy. If you have products, you have team, you hiring the team there, and you start like do marketing there. So it can go. So and they have like spending money, and people like to change. Before just like people training because everything is about in there is about training. Just like if you can create a trend, you can focus on something that you can drive the perception of people. People can change pretty easy. Also, the government is starting support.
Right.
Even the ecosystem, right now they're creating the Ministry of Digital Economy for the tech industry. Just like they push a lot of money, they're gonna put a lot of money into this area. And after the digital economy is starting, so they're gonna boost all of the infrastructure, boost all of the anything that's required to start a company or to do business on about the digital economy. And it's gonna go very soon, just like before Thailand, it's just like this, and then right now it's gonna be ready, and it's gonna jet into another level. So I think this time is very, very good to start something or to do the business in Thailand.
All right. So it's pretty good time to do the business in Thailand, right?
Yeah.
So talking about the opportunity in this region, because that's the kind of topic we're talking, right? So opportunity, there's an opportunity in the region, but more specifically, what type of business model can be really potential in each country, you know? Can you start from Indonesia?
So what is interesting with country like Indonesia is that it is still a green field. So if you know about Red Sea, Blue Ocean, Indonesia is like almost a blue ocean because you have very limited tech company and very strong in this market. Only several sectors that already occupy, like e-commerce, maybe it's a bit overcrowded. But the rest of the area is still wide open. Job portal, we have JobsDB, JobStreet for the last decades, maybe 2 decades, and that's about it. There's not much innovation on that area. On financial sector, also, there are very limited companies actually strong there. Almost every sector, I have to say, is still very open. That's why we always encourage the young startup. They don't have to come. They don't need to have the mentality like Silicon Valley or other developed market, where you need to innovate. You need to bring something new. Indonesia, you don't need to bring anything new because like you just need to bring anything not in the market yet. Yeah. So I believe this opened a lot of opportunity for entrepreneurs or for companies in Korea.
Right.
So for us, looking at Korea is looking at our future. Yeah. For you, you're looking at, let's say, you have a time machine where you can redo your past. Yeah. What you have done here in Korea market, you can bring all that learning to Indonesia and implement that very quickly, very easily, and can be very successful.
Right.
So these are the model that I'm doing at the moment also with our venture. So we rather call ourselves as a company builder than a venture fund, because venture fund, you look at the company and you invest. For us, that we look for team and they say, okay, what do you want to build? I want to come to this area. If they have the strong domain understanding about that industry, even though not on the IT side, but we say that, okay, is that business big in another country? Let's say in Korea, in China, in US, and how long has it been? Or they say, oh, 5 years ago, this is big, or 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and now they are like thousands of employees, they got this much revenue, billions of revenue, they are listed. They say, yes, those are the business that we want to do for Indonesia. Those kind of opportunities still exist, at least for the next 2 to 3 years. Yeah, but you need to take it now, otherwise Japanese firms start coming in. right? Chinese firms start coming in. Silicon Valley don't really care about this area, Southeast Asia yet,
Right.
but a lot of other more developed Asian markets start coming into Indonesia. Company like a lot of foreign graduates from Malaysia, from Vietnam start coming and want to start something for Indonesian market. And I encourage, if you have good solution or you are a startup, you build something in Korea, you are like, the story of Superman, right? Superman, if he's in planet Krypton, then he's nobody, he's like anyone else. But when he moved to Earth, then he becomes superhero.
Right.
Yeah, because he got that special power. You are like Superman, right? Here, maybe you're like all the others. Koreans are entrepreneurs. You build tech companies already. But when you come to Southeast Asia, come to Indonesia, you are Superman. You get your superpower because the others don't have that knowledge, don't have that understanding. So,
Right.
yeah, I mean.
I think
this is
really
the time.
inspiring comment for the startup people in Korea, Well, but at the same time, for those startup companies, for them to expand their business to the Southeast Asian country, they're startup, which means also very short of experience,
Yes.
and also young, which means so they could have some kind of barrier,
Yep.
So for them to overcome that issue, if you can give them any advice.
Yeah, I shared this because we had coffee with the chairman of K.E.Y.
Right.
1 month yesterday. So I shared with him, I think, one thing, I view South Korea as a very key country because your society here, you're very focused on discipline and you're meticulous in your design execution, something which society in Southeast Asia doesn't have. Okay? If you combine that two, export your process and your technical knowledge and work with a Southeast Asian partner to localize it for that, I think you have a winning combination. Now, the shortage of experience, for you who are in your 20s and young and what we call wet behind the ears, I encourage you to liaise with your elders, people who have worked especially for the chaebols in South Korea. Okay? Chaebols have been operating in Southeast Asia for 30, 40 years. And these executives have a lot of knowledge about Southeast Asia, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, because they have been operating, they lived in Southeast Asia for at least a decade, some of these long-term serving expatriates, right? And that domain knowledge is so valuable, right? I encourage you all to engage these people back. No doubt it's a slightly different mindset and maybe something funky, right, which your elders might find a bit weird, but they bring themselves a lot of tacit and domain knowledge from their years of working and living in these countries. So I encourage you all after this, go out and reach out to people you know who have worked in these countries. They may be in their 50s, 60s, but this is your greatest resource you have locally.
Right. You want to add anything, Achra?
Just adding for the, just you asked before about the business domain and industry. I think the pretty go fast industry in Thailand and still keep going is about e-commerce.
Right.
Yeah, just like before, people just in Thailand right now, it's just like they crazy about e-commerce or trading online for a while, or just like for 2 or 3 years, and before it's come from 1 or 2 conglomerate company, and right now it start separate, and then the individual shop just starting, they have bunch of them, just like in some company they said they have like so many user inside the system and so many trading inside the system. Even Facebook online or Instagram, in Thailand, Instagram for the actor and actress, every time that they post, they said, don't post your shop in the post. That's quite funny because if you post in Instagram, somebody just gonna steal you and put in the shop. So that means they need something to advertise their shop, and they need to grow their shop a lot.
Right.
So this is the way that they do right now, but it's not the structure yet. If somebody can do structure on them, somebody can make things. This is on the right way and in the standard way that the other country can do. I think they can score a lot.
Right. Well, when you talk about your Thailand market, you said like money is quite available, like investment is pretty available. Government also ready to support.
Yeah.
But you said the getting right people with the skill is quite tough, right?
Right.
Do you think that for the like young generation people with the skill and technology from like not just Southeast Asian region, you know, like Far East region as well, like Korea, China, Japan. You think for those young generation, you think the Thailand market also can be a like opportunity for them to come and join the startup scene?
Yeah, they have a lot of like new grad started on startup, but yeah, that's mostly fails because of the experience. But you can get all of those guys and. Even our company, what we have to do to create the technical team or the team that we have to grab them from the university, pick the right one and train them. Because some bad point about Thai is about education. It's not that grooming enough. The theory and what things that they teach on the university maybe like 5 years ago, they're still teaching for C++. Or some they're still teaching for Pascal, even me, and just like when I'm studying for COBOL. Wow, what is COBOL? Just like if somebody knows just COBOL, just used like 20 years ago and been like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I'm still studying on that. It's just like the education is not that good.
Right.
And that's that ready for if you want to pick someone, you need to train them a while. For even my company that I need like 2 months.
Right.
To get them ready to start developing something, to learning something. But if you do pick those kind of people, it's pretty easy and it's pretty cheap. And if you pick the new grad, it's gonna stay with your company for a while, just like 2 or 3 years at least. But you have to build company culture. And in Thailand, I can say that it's very easy to build a company culture that's super strong.
Right. See. Okay. Well, we briefly talk about the each market's uniqueness, but I think one of the common thing for these 3 countries is, I think, especially from Korean perspective, each country is the Korean cultural influence is very strong. Like Batra already told, Line is already #1 messenger app in Thailand, and also we've seen a lot of quite active movement in each country. So for the Korean business perspective, you know, how we can utilize it better for tethering up your region. What do you think? Yeah, Andy.
Okay. So let me start with. I believe that a lot of people say that the leader for the tech industry is the benchmark is Silicon Valley. However, people in Silicon Valley actually pay little attention about Southeast Asia region. They focus more on the other part of America, like which also still emerging, European market as well. So on this market, the partnership between Southeast Asian country and the other more developed Asian countries actually is doing very well. Yeah, the startup or the tech company from Korea, from Japan, from China actually is very much active in this region, in Indonesia especially. And among all these developed Asian countries, the one that the culturally more acceptable by us is Korean. Yeah, so I think through the help of the K-pop revolution also, like everybody accept that. I have my daughters here and they're all busy looking for all memorabilia from Korean artists. I can't believe why. Yeah, but yeah, this actually helped with the other part, the other part of the industry. Like people think that Korean products are cool, so they don't mind using cacao, they don't mind using lime, they don't mind using Korean product because it's fine. There's still a bit of reluctance using China product because it is not cool. Yeah, I think like old time you also said, oh, Japan product is not in a good quality. Now they are good. So maybe the time will come where China product also been considered as cool, but now Korean on the top spot. So it's a good opportunity for Korean companies to start looking into that. However, you need to really understand also, Southeast Asia is not a single market. Its countries are different. Our friend here also mentioned that even inside Malaysia is different market. right? They have the Chinese culture, the local Bumiputra as well. Southeast Asia is very different. We heard the case of Thailand where Line is number one. Indonesia is not the case. Yeah, Indonesia, Facebook is still very popular. Before we have BlackBerry is very popular, right? Then this different. There's no single Southeast Asian market or single Southeast Asian country. You have to look into them case by case basis, country by country basis. Indonesia can be one good country to start with because of the size and the ease to come in. Indonesia, when you come into the Indonesia market, it's just like one single national country. You talk to one carrier, you got the whole nation already. If you go to India, each province got their own regulation. It's very fragmented. Indonesia is easier. So, yeah, I think it's a good chance for Korean country. However, no single vision, have to be multiples and have to be very sensitive on what the local country needs.
Yeah,
Right.
I'll add the point from a company's organizational standpoint. I mean, in Korea, I think you are more beneficial because I think in Korea, first, your society is more homogeneous, and second, you are very much still very loyal to your locally made brands. Like, you don't see that happening in Southeast Asia. But I'd like to add a point, when you're expanding into a country like Southeast Asia, I think where organizations fail most, not only for any country or any company, is that you need to find a very strong company culture identity. Because especially when you're expanding ASEAN, each country's culture and identity are very different. And if you cannot normalize it against a very strong work ethic of your company's organization, mission, and values, you have a recipe for disaster.
Yes.
So you need any company, whether it's a small or your culture must be extremely strong such that anyone you recruit on the local team to work either in your Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand local office, they must internalize that mission, vision, and culture of your company. That's the common language that you'll be able to operate across all the ASEAN countries.
All right.
I'd like to add on one example. Big flop is like, I think Microsoft, they done few wrong steps when they launched their Surface computer, if I'm not mistaken. They air an ad that made in India and they show it in Indonesia, which like they will say, now we don't really like that, we hate that. Yeah, or a lot of ads actually produced in Singapore and in Indonesia. Again, Singapore is not Southeast Asia, right? So be very careful about that. We rather accept Korean culture because we know, okay, it is foreign. Yeah, it is cool, so we accept that. But try to localize it, but halfly baked, it is bad. Yeah, because each country in Southeast Asia, they have their own national pride. So be very aware about that.
Right, see. Well, at this point, why don't we pass the mic to the audience? If you have any question about each specific country or the region, please feel free to ask. Yes, please.
I think we cannot ignore the regulation. So I just wonder, the regulation about your country. So when I been to Malaysia last year, especially Sarawak State, they do their. They are too strict. So when we want to do our business in Sarawak, especially, so how about their regulation?
Well, there's written and unwritten regulations, right, for the state of Sarawak. I wouldn't go into the unwritten. Basically, for a state like Sarawak, there are quote-unquote gatekeepers, which are not officially on paper. And to do business well in Sarawak, you need to go through these gatekeepers. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I heard from my friend, and he said we need to pay 50% of our revenue in Sarawak. Is it true? Or?
Wow, okay. We probably can chat more in a coffee or drinking. I wouldn't comment in it on open. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, please utilize the coffee chat time. Yes, please.
Thank you very much. It was really, informative and very satisfied to hear. Actually, we have to really admit there are plenty of potential in 3 countries. We already know about that. But if you guys really had to just choose one of the most risky factor in your country, what would you say about just the most risky factor in your country?
Wow.
Especially when you do the startup business.
Yeah,
right?
especially when it comes
Yeah.
to start companies.
I'll talk about risk in general because my heart and soul is in financial investing. And to be successful financially, you must understand risk. And risk is not just a technical risk, it's psychological risk for you. I think where people go astray of what I call the drive off a cliff is that they don't know what they don't know, or what they assume is not to be true. And that's very dangerous, right? So if you think A, B, C, you better check your assumptions well, right? And like Nassim Taleb's Black Swan book, right? The fallacy that all swans in the world are white, it just takes him to find one black swan, right? To now that hypothesis. So when you're doing risk management, and this is a general state of mind I share with you because I've licked my wounds over 20 years, right? Check your assumptions, especially, right? In any type of risk, because overconfidence kills you, and you get what you think is that, but didn't come true, that's the one that kills you, right? Or what, as Donald Rumsfeld said, right? There are the known knowns, the known unknowns, and the unknown unknowns. The known unknowns are fine because you know you don't know about that, so you be careful about that. The unknown unknowns are the worst. Or what you think is known, you think is correct, but prove otherwise, that will kill you.
Right.
Yeah, but then I can add on is like you you need to understand the art of what I call it, of communications as well, because people in Southeast Asia are very nice. So when they ask them, they say yes, they like it. That's why on the Economist, Indonesian ranked the highest of the happiest people in the world. Yeah. Well, when I look at it, I don't think that we are the happiest people in the world. Yeah, but they're very they accept, right, anything. So when they say, "Oh, do you like this?" Yes. Would you use it? Yes. Would you pay for it? Yes. But the truth might not be the case. So by actually relying on research company or available data to back your action or your strategy, I think it is very risky. If you ask what is the highest risk, I think it's very important for you to find a good local partners to guide you, to work together with you. Yeah, and almost all assumptions you have to say is wrong. So when you come, let's say you come to Indonesia and you come to Jakarta, try to do something. You saw everybody is using iPhone, everybody is using smartphone, but that's not the case. Yeah, I think iPhone is only like 3% population. However, when you come to that circle, your circle actually will show that they're using all these things. They might not be the case. You have to really go down to the suburban area or the other smaller city. So what you see might not be the case. Yeah, so I think spend more time and interact more with locals, get a good local partners, and do that together.
All right.
For Thailand, it's like, I think
Nice.
from foreigner people just seeing Thailand is about political situation. Like we have the mob every 2 years, we have shootings on the street every 4 years, and we have club every 5 years, something like that. Just like it's been happening for 10 or maybe 15 years, and right now Thailand is quite separate into two parts. First part, if you can remind the map that I show you, on the northern part and northeastern part, It's from the late, we call the late part, and from Bangkok, eastern part, and southern, it's yellow part. People just separating on the mindset. But by the way, it's not that bad. Right now, even they have club and they have military government. Everyone knows military government, and I think that's something a bit opportunity because after military government, everything seemed to be like very normal, and the government said, the military said he's gonna go in a straight about like another 5 years. I said, oh, okay, that's fine, after you. But if you can look on the concert or some amusements in Thailand in the next couple months, it's gonna have a lot like One Dimension and a lot of Korean concert and everything. That's proven something that right now the situation is been clean, it's been nice right away.
Right.
So I think that if you worry about us and about in Thailand, I think it's fine at least another 2 or 3 years. And the other part, the list in Thailand, just like if you gonna build something, you make something, the spending money, the spending value, you have to prove that it's gonna be like something that people need to buy because so many startups, they're doing business for B2C. Even they are being on the top grossing application on iOS, but the number that I'm talking to them and I know the number that is so few that it's not doesn't cover for the salary or turnover rate at the day. So, but people in Thailand sometimes for example in rural area, they still purchase CD. You see, they still have the CD. The CD is still big market. So that's something that people easy to purchase, and just like you said, in rural areas they have some different part of the spending, but those are the biggest market in Thailand.
Right.
And I think in the Southeast Asia.
I mean, I just want to add, because something came across my mind as we're discussing. I've been traveling to Korea for the last 15 years, looking at Korean companies and business opportunities. I'll share with you, I think Korea could be very valuable. For my just one person's view, I think you're a very hardworking and very disciplined society here. And especially, my thinking is that I think you're quite a transparent society, right, in terms of intention. If you say something's not good, you just say it, right? Whereas in Malaysia and Singapore, we call it the wayang kulit, the shadow play. You don't really see the true form, you only see the shadow, right? And you're trying to interpret. I think Korea, where you can do well is you serve markets or you work with business partners who maybe share that commonality of your culture, right? Working hard, very disciplined, very detailed, and being transparent. And that don't necessarily become maybe ASEAN, it may be another part of the world. For instance, I think like if you go to the Nordic countries in Western Europe, right, they're equally hard-working society, very transparent society. Right, you go to Israel, very similar, very strong culturally. But I think that's maybe where you may share a common thread, right, of your society versus this partner society at the working level, at the country, at the company partner, or at the consumer level. Yeah.
Right. Okay, I think we can have one last question. Yes, please.
Hi. So I work for Yellow Mobile. I had the M&A and investments for our Yellow Digital Marketing division. And so I've been traveling a lot, and we've actually acquired some companies as well in the Southeast Asia region. But one of the things I've noticed from a digital marketing and media spending perspective, Korea is very mobile heavy now, but whereas still Southeast Asia is very search and kind of display web heavy, right? And so, like you said, looking at Korea's history, it was very web heavy, and then suddenly it switched over to mobile. And for the 5 years before that happened, everybody was like, okay, we need to prepare for mobile. The change is gonna come, but when, right? So the companies that started too early, that they couldn't sustain, went out of business, and the ones that did are doing quite well. So one of the dilemmas we have is most of our services are focused heavily on mobile, And so we've realized if it's difficult to take those services because it's too advanced, right? So it's almost like we have to go back and build a lot of web-based services for the Southeast Asian market. But we foresee that also in your countries that the change will probably shift overnight. So, I mean, I guess there's no right answer, but when do you think that shift will come? And then also with that, if it changes to mobile, then do you see a lot of local apps forming? Because I know, like you said, for Korea, everything's local services, whereas, you know, in your markets, it seems like the international services are dominating.
I'll start with Malaysia. I mean, I think it applies to Southeast Asia. I think the jump from, let's say, browser to mobile will be very fast, depending on the price point of the mobile device. And I think now, personally, I think Android will be very pervasive in Southeast Asia because Android devices have a much lower price point, especially the emergence of Chinese makers of Android systems. But that said, the movement from rich browser interaction to mobile might actually displace a lot of companies. We've seen personally, right, we've looked at some investments where their business just went away, going from browser to mobile. So if you ask me personally, what would actually be very valuable in mobile? And especially, I think in Asia, we tend to and I'm a former engineer and developer myself, we tend to over-engineer our products. I feel like especially in mobile, you need to actually not throw more functions in. You need to throw functions out and just concentrate on a couple, right? WhatsApp, right? 18 billion valuation, right? One single thing they did very well, right? WeChat is going over on the other side. I'm not sure where it will morph, right? But if you ask me, mobile, actually, the way the user experience and all that, we have very short attention span. So I think the apps, if you are in the app development team, if I were head of development at a web company, I would actually throw most of the function addition in. Because engineers just would like to throw in, not only increases CapEx cost and development time, it just makes the user experience like at some point, I think the conversions back in mobile will go to a very few killer products, and they just do a few things very well.
I'd like to further emphasize what I just mentioned earlier, is that what you see, what you hear, does not mean that is actually what really happens on the ground. So Indonesia is actually, in fact, is a mobile country because most people use internet or use device. The only device they have is the mobile phones. And by a big range like 80–90% people have mobile phones, but only less than 10% people use PC and laptop. However, if you further drill down the numbers, it says that now over 30% people actually have smartphones already. The rest of them are still using feature phones. But even when they use smartphones, and the one that using feature phones, their price point on their device actually is very low. Not mistaken, I saw some data says that 50% of people in Indonesia, their phones are below $50. Yeah, even like 70% actually is below $90. So it's very, very low-end devices. The top-selling Samsung phones actually is Samsung Galaxy Y. Cannot even play that game. What is that game? The running one? I forgot what is it. The one that you run.
Cookie Run?
Temple Run.
Temple Run. Yeah, Temple Run using Unity engine because most of the games actually using Unity engine. So it will not work. Yeah, so when people say, oh, I'm going to put ads on those kind of games, well, that games cannot be played by most Indonesians. A lot of content actually goes through browser, which Opera browser is very big for Indonesia market. And also, most of the users in Indonesia actually use social media. They don't use other application. The only thing that they use is Facebook. So even though Facebook is big, a lot of people use it on the browser, or they use it on a special application that built not by Facebook company, but by another company, run on feature phones. Yeah, so that's the only apps they can use on their device because memory also very limited. Yeah, capabilities of the phone also very limited. I agree with what he says that later on there will be like a specific function application, not the one that bloated application because the devices are still very low. The device function are still very low. But things are getting better and better. The Android One initiative by Google whereas they give a special application, a full Android version, but they tweak it, they customize it with hardware already. So for you, for the local OEM, they can say, I'm going to buy that Android One spec, and actually I'm going to distribute this device. That was sold for, I think, about $100, and it sell like hotcakes. More and more of this device is going to come into market. It gives you full Android experience, but with feature phones price range. Then again, the other thing is that don't expect people understand your product and use it straight away. A lot of people come in and say that, okay, for you to use my application, you need to register using email. This guy, remember, don't have email account because only 5% population have computer. These are all mobile-centric. So if you ask them to register using email account, they say, oh my God, where can I get email accounts? Yeah, so they need to be able to register using their mobile phone number or another ways to do that. There's many stories that we can talk about on how to understand these mobile users, because I'm also a director of one social media company called MakeMe, which recently listed. That's how we started. The product are ugly. The first time I saw it, ugly. I don't think it will work because we come from a smartphones background. We know something is good with animation, but most users can't use it. You need to really talk to the user and find out what they really want. They want something fast, something works, and yeah, it doesn't have to be flashy.
Yeah, to add one more data point, I don't know if any of you actually talk to the Southeast Asian telcos. Majority of users, especially on the data plan, actually do on a prepaid plan.
Yes.
Right, and whenever, so you have issues about, a lot of people doing payment gateways to billing to your postpaid. Postpaid is still very small, and a lot of telcos are having issue how do you move prepaid to postpaid. And a lot of these people who get a smartphone, yes, they may have a full-featured phone, but they don't actually use much data cycles of their prepaid plan, right? As soon as they have a Wi-Fi network available, they'll connect to it, much to the disdain, of course, of the telcos, right? So how you operate, you need to understand the characteristics of where the data usage, whether it's Wi-Fi, online, offline, or through the prepaid, postpaid. The other point, I think, speaking as a former engineer myself, I think at some point there'll be very specific chipsets on a handset which will be accelerating some of the functions of the most popular applications, whether messaging or social media. They'll come up. Similar to why, I think 5 years ago, why Oracle bought Sun Microsystems, right, a hardware company, right? Because now Oracle is making very optimized hardware for relational database systems, right? So the Sun servers right now being sold by Oracle are very heavily optimized for database processing. So similarly, you expect a migration of that on the headset side. Companies, whether in Asia or around the world, will have accelerated functions for some of these most popular apps.
Okay, so this is it. Time's up for the Southeast Asian region talk. And we will come back with the Vietnam market discussion after coffee break. Thank you so much. Let's give some clap to the speakers. Thank you.